The 6 Hour P320 Subcompact in 9mm. Gonna shoot it. Today's gonna be all about the first 100. I'm gonna start out with some herders. And then we'll probably move on to some Freedom munitions. And I've even got some steel cased. I'm gonna try a little bit of everything. Boy, you gotta love the month of March. It is intermittently sunny and cloudy, but it is windy and extremely chilly today. I mean, to the point where I've had to put on gloves a couple times. All right, so I'm gonna load these up. This is a 12-round magazine. That last round is a little snug. So this is Herder's 115 grain full metal jacket. Good ammo. I've had great luck with this stuff over the years. It's starting to become available again. Got real hard to find there for a while. Yeah, that 12th round is a little bit tight. That spring may loosen up a little bit. I'm also going to load up one of the 15-round magazines from the P320 Compact, because it will accept, or will be accepted in the subcompact as well. It just sticks out the bottom a little bit. All right, here we go. Man, it is March, it is cold, it is windy, but it's not raining or snowing. And so I am at the range. I'm at the range with the SIG P320 Subcompact. Brand new for 2015. Just made its debut at SHOT Show just a little less than 2 months ago. And they should be hitting the streets now. So let's take the first 100 rounds through the P320 Subcompact. Okay, 2 magazines, 24 rounds so far. And I gotta tell you, this thing feels nice. Something about a 6 Hour makes me want to shoot fast. You know, it is a 9mm, so you know it's not like it's going to have incredible recoil, but a small, light 9mm like this can be pretty snappy. And this one handles it really well. The grip angle, the texture of the grip that gives you that nice hold, all combine, I think, to really manage it very well. It feels great. I'm not exactly eating one hole in the target, as you can see, but at least I'm keeping them all in the down zero ring. The 15-round magazine from the P320 Compact does fit and function in the 320 Subcompact. It's just going to stick out the bottom a little bit. Let's go reload and do that some more. But before we do that, a quick comparison, sort of a little bonus comparison, if you will. But in the first video, the first look at the SIG P320 Subcompact, several people commented that they would like to see a comparison to the Glock 26, which makes sense. The baby Glock is, of course, sort of the quintessential subcompact gun, and I had already compared it to the Glock 19. But as you can see here, these two much more similar in size. The length overall, as you can see, is so close that it's almost identical. The only real difference is the beaver tail area on the SIG that adds some length. So the SIG is just shy of 7 inches at 6.7 is the published length, and the Glock is 6.41 published length, so just shy of 6.5. So you've got, you know, quarter of an inch or so. Now the sight radius, curiously, if I line up the sights, as you can see here, the sight radius is just about the same. Maybe a fraction of an inch favoring the Glock, but very, very tough to see. But the SIG is noticeably taller. All right, the published numbers are 4.7 inches tall for the SIG, where the Glock is only 4.17. Right, so you've got, you know, more than a half inch of extra height. Let me line these up here for you so you can see that. There you go. If you got more than a half inch of additional height on the SIG, so that's a pretty significant difference. Now, what do you get for that? Well, you get 2 extra rounds standard capacity. SIG Sauer has 12 round standard magazine. Glock 26 has 10 round standard magazine. So if the round count is more important to you and you can tolerate that height, then the SIG is for you. If concealability is more important than a couple of extra rounds, then the Glock 26. The Glock is also a little bit lighter. Glock is just under 22 ounces with an empty magazine, whereas the SIG, 25 ounces with an empty magazine. And the difference, I think, really is, yeah, you got a little bit more barrel, because the SIG gives you 3.6 inches, whereas the Glock gives you 3.42 inches. So you do have a little bit more barrel in the SIG, and that's going to add some weight. The other thing is you've got a lot more steel in that internal chassis system in the SIG than you do in the Glock, which has a lot more polymer. The only other comparison I want to make, and they don't really have numbers to show this, is the width. So the Glock does publish their width, but let's just check since we've got to measure the SIG anyway. So I'm going to go to the widest part of the slide, and that is where the slide stop lever is, and that takes us to just about 1.2. So 1.2 inches, call it. The SIG has a couple of widest spots. It has ambidextrous slide lock, right? So that's going to cost it in terms of width, but it also has this really thick takedown lever. So first, let's look at the measurement where the slide lock levers are. 1324. So, whoops. 1320, call it. And then measuring it where this wide takedown lever is, 1260 something. So okay, so the widest part is here at the back, 1326 now. But depending on what kind of a holster, you know, these may not be deep in the holster, so they may not make a big difference in the carrying width. So that's debatable. So they're comparable, but now the other thing, just as that I did want to look at too, is the grip frame, because the SIG feels a lot thinner to me. All right, we've got 1.112, and the Glock, yeah, big difference. Almost about 100 thousandths difference. So 1.214. So you've got 100 thousandths of difference. That's a tenth of an inch more thickness than the Glock, which kind of bears out what I was observing with, you know, just holding the two. So there's a comparison that hopefully is a little helpful. SIG Sauer P320 Subcompact. Let's do some headshots. All right, now we're moving past the herders into PMC ammo. Okay, I had one round that had a light primer strike and didn't fire, so let's try that one again. Okay. The trigger on this gun is really intuitive. The reset is short, very tactile. Makes a very steady firing and rapid fire pretty easy to do. Really, really nice trigger. It's got just an excellent feel in all respects. It's got I measured it in the 7 to almost 8 pound range, so it measured heavy on my gauge before firing it, but that doesn't tell you the true story. The trigger feels much lighter than that. It's very smooth, there's very little take up and a super crisp break, and then that reset is excellent. Okay, wow, almost done with my first 100 through the P320 Subcompact. Let's go barehanded. Number one, I like to really feel the gun without gloves. And I've put an orange dot on my target, even though it's all shot up. Let's see if I can hit that. This gun seems pretty accurate. The wind is like actually blowing the gun. One thing about the short, I have the small grip and small frame on this gun. That gives me a whole lot of trigger, and sometimes that can work against you. In my case, it tends to push my shots left a little bit. So I'm trying to watch that, I'm trying to be careful. SIG P320 Subcompact. That was it, first 100. I don't know if I'm done. I don't feel done. I think I might have to put some bonus rounds through this gun. My first thoughts after the first 100 rounds through the P320 Subcompact are very good. This gun feels really good to shoot. It's got a beautiful natural grip, feels extremely comfortable in the hand. And this is, again, the small sized frame or grip. If you have, you know, bigger hands, you might want the medium or the large. But for me, this is really good. And for me, a subcompact gun should have a small grip. That to me, that goes along with it. So I like it. But it's not so small that it focuses the recoil into the middle of the palm of your hand, as some small guns can do. It's really a soft shooter. For as small and as light as it is, and it's a very accurate gun. Point of aim is pretty much point of impact with these sights, the way this gun is sighted in. At least at a 7 to 10 yard distance for like self-defense range, which is where you want to test this gun. That's the range this gun is intended for. Although I have no doubt that it's going to be accurate out to 25 yards and beyond. That'll be something to test for another day. But on this first day with the P320 Subcompact, it has been pretty flawless. I had one light primer strike. I reloaded that round and it fired fine. So no conclusions to be drawn there. Very likely could have been just a hard primer. So just to test things a little further, I've got 15 rounds loaded up of steel-cased ammo, tall ammo. Let's just see how it handles the steel case, make sure there's no problems or feeding issues with that. No issues at all. Just as accurate. Took a lot more of my orange dot away with that magazine. So good stuff. P320 Subcompact is definitely one to look at. If you're in the market for a small carry gun, and I was going to say if you're looking at 9mm, but this gun is available right now in 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, and 357 SIG, and they tell us 45 ACP is coming soon. So this is definitely one to look at. This gun is a contender. It is small, it's light, it's accurate, it's reliable, it's extremely comfortable and ergonomic. The trigger is fantastic. So far, after a little more than 100 rounds, I'm loving this gun.